From the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kaheen Mohammed, and welcome to the Young Reader Center. This morning we have a very special program for you with Everybody Wins DC's story time. We have author Chris Grabenstein, who wrote Mr Lemoncellos Library, and a few others. Have any of you been to the Young Reader Center before? One of you. Have any of you been to the library before? Awesome. All right, does anyone know how old this library is? Do you know? How old? A little bit older. Let's count in years. Does anyone know? Maybe have a guess? No, it's not 1,000,000 years old. You're right here. No, so the library is 216 years old. Does anyone know someone that's that old? No. The Young Reader Center is only 6 years old, right? So we're a very, very new part of the library. We do lots of programs like the one you're taking part in this morning. We're with authors and illustrators. We also do the National Book Festival. Have any of you been to that? Awesome. It's really awesome. This year will be September 24th, so make sure you all come down. It's free and open to the public. We also do a lot of these author events that you're a part of, like this morning. But I won't take up any more of your time. I'm going to introduce Chris, who will take over from now.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I got this down here. Okay, good. Excellent. I'm marked there. So you guys are in the 5th grade, right? All right, that's my 5th grade class picture up there on the screen. Have you guys been able to figure out which one of those kids I was when I was in the 5th grade? Anybody want to take a guess? Yes. The one with the red shirt? No. The blue? This one here? Over here? That's the teacher. That's Mrs. Nason. Oh. Bottom of the, oh, here. No, his hair is blonde. Well, which one? This one. This one, that's a girl. Oh. This one. That's a girl too. It was 1965. Things were a little strange back there. But her hair is blonde. What color is my hair? What color did my hair used to be? Black. Used to be black, yes. Blue shirt. Yeah, right there by the teacher. He's got a receding hairline. Looks like he's going bald. No, I didn't start going bald like 15, 20 years ago. That guy was going bald in the 5th grade. By the time we got to 6th grade, we all called him Chrome Dome. Yes, which one was I? Black hair, the glasses over here. That's a very good guess. By the teacher? Oh, that's the same guy. No, that's Baldy there. Now, I'm going to give you a little clue. When I was in the 5th grade, my eyesight was better than it is today. I did not wear glasses when I was in the 5th grade. Yes, back there. Red shirt, that one right there? The one who looks like a little angel who just fell down from heaven? Yeah, that was me in the 5th grade. Yeah, it was me. I don't think I've ever looked that innocent again. I show you that picture for a couple reasons. One, to prove before my hair started turning gray, thank you very much, before I started going bald up here. I was actually the same age as you guys, and the 5th grade is when I first really started having fun writing. I used to do these little comic books. My mom saved fun. I used to do these comic books where I draw the pictures and fill in the captions. Any of you guys do that? Anyone draw a little comic? Oh, yeah, it's fun to do, isn't it? And give them to your friends and stuff. Do it during recess. You'll get in a lot less trouble than I used to get in. And in 5th grade, I won my first writing award ever. It was the Lions Club. I grew up in Signal Mountain, Tennessee, and we had a Lions Club that had an essay contest, and I won that contest. And the 5th grade is also when I first started reading Mad Magazine. Any of you guys still read Mad Magazine? Yeah, that man's got a TV show. I got to work with Orlando Jones, yeah. And so that taught me a lot about the power of words when I was in 5th grade, because I was the kind of kid in the 5th grade that bullies used to pick on, and they would like try to jump me and stuff. And I got to the point where I realized that I could use my wits and my words to defeat them. So Mad Magazine helped me out a lot with that. And then when I got into junior high school, there I am. You can tell my mother used to put a bowl on her, huh? Yeah, I got a B plus on this because we had to write an essay. What do you want to be when you grow up? And up to that point, I wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer and an engineer like my father was. But I had decided, because in 7th grade, I had a teacher who wrote in the margins of my paper, "You will make your living as a writer someday." And you know, when a teacher tells you something, it has to be true, because all teachers take a solemn vow to never lie to children. Aren't I right, teachers? They remember that day. It's a big day in their lives. They raise their right hand and say, "I will never lie to children." So when that teacher told me that, it meant a lot to me, because, you know, your parents can say stuff like, you know, "Oh, Chris, you could be a writer." But they're your parents. They get paid to say nice things about you. So when a teacher told me this, I thought maybe I could be a writer. So in 8th grade, I had to write this essay, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I wrote, "But now my mind wanders to a new thought. To be a comedian or a writer is my quest. If this flops, I would be content to be a millionaire and run Grabenstein's department stores if I could ever fit the name on a sign." I got a B plus. Anyone think I should have gotten at least an A minus on that, maybe? A minus? Yeah, thank you, man. Basically the same thing, but I would have felt better with the A minus. I don't know why. As a kid, I always did. And then I went to high school, and we had real long hair back there. It was like, it had hair down to here. Yeah, we were all hippies back then. And I had a really, really good English teacher in 9th grade. I went to Notre Dame Catholic High School in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which is where I grew up. And I had this teacher named Shek Van Duzen, and he's had 2 books dedicated to him so far, because he like completely changed my life. He introduced me to Mark Twain and Shakespeare. Yes, sir. Yeah, I never could do the dreads. I had down here, like down really long hair. We all had the long hair back there in the 60s. So this Shaq Van Duzen was the one who opened up my eyes to like stuff like Shakespeare and Mark Twain and things like that. So he was really influential. And then I went to college and I studied theater and journalism at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. Anybody here from Tennessee at all? Anyone ever been to Tennessee? That's where I grew up, was in Tennessee. And then in 1979, before anybody else in this room was born, I moved to New York City, and I used to do improvisational comedy with a troupe in Greenwich Village, where we would just make up stories and songs from audience suggestions. And we had a guy named Bruce Willis in our troupe. He shaved his head and moved to California. We don't know what happened to him. And the late Robin Williams, that's him right there and there, whenever he was in town, he would jump up on stage with us, and we would make up stories and songs. So I was still like having fun making things up and creating things. And then I wrote for the Muppets. Do you guys ever watch the Muppets? Yeah. And then I did a made-for-TV movie called The Christmas Gift, starring John Denver, with a buddy of mine from college. We wrote this movie, and it was first on CBS way back in 1986, and it's still on television every year. I know this because my mother calls up and tells me, she says, "Chris, your movie's going to be on 3 o'clock in the morning on the Hallmark Channel." I think my mother is the only one still watching that movie. And then I wrote radio and television commercials for almost 20 years. That was my career for a while. I wrote for KFC and Dr. Pepper and 7-Up and Burger King. And guess who my first boss was when I wrote Burger King commercials? A guy named James Patterson. Have any of you ever heard of him? Oh, in the back, yeah. #1 best-selling author in the history of authors. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records for having more #1 bestsellers than any author. So he was my first boss, and now we're starting to write books. Now we flash forward ahead, and these are all the books I've written. Then I guess they've all, I think, are probably in the Library of Congress now. Because, I've written a bunch of books. And I write books now with James Patterson. We did the Treasure Hunter series together, and the iFunny series, and the House of Robots. And this is a new book. It's not even out yet. That comes out in a couple weeks, called Jackie Haha, that he and I did. And I did these books called The Island of Dr. Libris. And yes, what's your question? Did I draw the pictures? No, when someone else does that. Because when I was in 5th grade discovering that I had a talent for writing, some other 5th graders were finding out they were pretty good at drawing stuff, and they went and developed all the skills to go with their talent. So the illustrators, there's a lady named Laura Park in Chicago who does the iFunny, and there's another lady in Canada does Treasure Hunters and House of Robots, and the Jackie Haha is done by a pair of artists in France. Yes? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh, that's good. That's how we get started. That's all starts like that. Yes, what were you going to say? What's that? My scary books are these ones right here. the haunted mystery. Let's Crossroads, all about a haunted tree with a ghost trapped inside a tree, and lightning hits it and the ghost gets out. And then these 4 are all scary. And these Daniel X books are kind of scary too. Then this is the book I want to tell you guys about today, was Escape from Mr. Lemoncello's Library. And that's the first book with just my name on the cover to become a New York Times bestseller. And it's been in the top 10 now for 58 weeks. And then a sequel just came out called Mr. Lemoncello's Library Olympics. And it's kind of fun for me to be here at the Library of Congress, because it was one of the images I used when I was writing the book. Because Mr. Lemoncello, have any of you guys read that book yet? Escape from Mr. Lemoncello's Library? You're going to get the second one. Well, in the first book, we meet Mr. Lemoncello, who is this zany bazillionaire who grew up in a town in Ohio where they bulldozed down their public library. And he decides to build a new public library, and it is the most amazing library ever. It's like 3 stories tall with a rotunda, and there's holograms inside and all sorts, because he made all of his money making games, so he fills the whole library with all sorts of games. In fact, I think I'll read you a little bit from this. Is from the second book, where we get to see a little bit of the library. And it was fun. We were just walking around, and I got to look at the rotunda. And in Mr. Lemoncello's library, the rotunda is lined with video screens, so we can change all the time and make it look like the constellations of the night sky, or make it feel like the whole library is blasting off into outer space. So in this, the second book, we get to meet Mr. Lemoncello, and he works with a lady named Dr. Yanina Zinchenko. Dr. Yanina Zinchenko, the world-famous librarian, dragged a lumpy mail sack to the far end of the rotunda reading room, where her boss, Luigi Lemoncello, was flying up and down in front of the 3-story tall fiction bookcases. "I'm looking for a good book," said Mr. Lemoncello, as his hover ladder jerked vertically, then skittered sideways, "but I'm not exactly sure what I'm looking for." The hover ladders were floating platforms with handrails, book baskets, and ski boot safety locks that allowed you to float up to retrieve any book you wanted simply by entering the book's call number into a computerized keypad. The system worked with the same magnetic levitation technology used in Germany and Japan to propel bullet trains with magnets instead of wheels. "Perhaps I can be of assistance," said Dr. Zinchenko in her thick Russian accent. "Do you have the call number?" "No need," Mr. Lemoncello said, laughing. "I wanted to test drive our new browse function." After several patrons had complained that the hover ladder's demand for a specific book code eliminated the ability for patrons to leisurely peruse the shelves, the Imagineers at Mr. Lemoncello's game company had come up with a new and improved hover ladders, which featured a browse button. Once you pushed it, the hover ladder randomly flitted in front of the shelves using advanced biofeedback technology, heart rate monitors, and complex algorithms to figure out what sort of story you might be interested in. "But we have a very important matter to discuss." Dr. Zinchenko pointed to the mail sack. It was the size of an overstuffed duffel bag. "Oh dear, a VIM. I don't know if I have the vigor for a VIM. We also have visitors and a VIM. I'll deal with both as soon as I finish browsing." "Mr. Lemoncello," bellowed a voice below. He glanced down and saw a properly dressed lady flanked by 6 other very properly dressed ladies and 1 properly dressed man in a bow tie. "I'll be right with you," shouted Mr. Lemoncello as his hover ladder caromed across the wall of books like an out-of-control ping-pong ball. "I'm busy browsing." "My name is Susanna Chiltington," the lady said operatically. "Mrs. Susanna Willoughby Chiltington." "Hello, Susanna. Don't you cry for me. The doctors say they can easily remove the banjo on my knee." Mrs. Chiltington wasn't amused. "Perhaps you've heard of my brother," she said, "the head librarian for the Library of Congress, James F. Willoughby III. What happened to the first 2? "I beg your pardon." "Never mind. I'm finished browsing. Pull me down, Captain Underpants." So Mr. Willoughby is not really the head librarian here. So that is the kind of zany place that Mr. Lemoncello's library is. And it's just filled with all sorts of wacky stuff. Yes, sir? What's that? I might read some other of my books. Yeah, we're talking about this one mostly. And because this one has been very popular. It's been that New York Times bestseller. It's got a lot of nice reviews everywhere. And Amazon picked it as one of their favorite books, and it won an LAA notable. But most importantly, Nickelodeon might turn it into a movie this year. I know. That's what I said too. It might happen. So that might happen this year. And it's been nominated for 39 now. They said 36, but I think California and New Jersey have been added state book awards, and it's won 10 of them already. So this has been a lot of fun for me. But, let's go see. Oh, people always ask me, like, how did you get an idea? How do you get ideas for stories? So I got the whole idea for Escape from Mr. Lemoncello's Library when I was visiting that library right there. That's PS 10 in Brooklyn, New York. Any of you ever been to Brooklyn, New York? That's what all the schools in Brooklyn, New York look like. They're like 4 stories tall, made out of red brick, been there since 1932. Forget about it. That's what they look like. So I went up and I said, nothing out of the ordinary here, because as a writer, if you guys want to write stories, just look for something that's a little bit out of the ordinary, a little bit out of whack, because nobody likes to read nice stories about nice people having a nice day, or ordinary people doing ordinary things in an ordinary way. So I said, it's just another ordinary school. But then they said, come on upstairs and meet the kids in our library. And this was the library in that school. It had murals everywhere, solid oak bookcases filled with books, computers. Does that library look like it belongs in that building? Not to me, it didn't. It looked a little too new. So I went up to the librarian, Mrs. McCreena there, and I said, how did you guys get this really cool brand new library? And she said, a very generous millionaire donated it to us. So that day on the subway ride home, I wrote down, what if a very generous and somewhat loony bazillionaire donated a library to the town where he grew up. And that's how all stories get started. You just have to, can you guys all stroke your chins like this? Look around and see something a little bit under you, like, ooh, what's that? Half a fireplace over there. What if that fireplace was where the Library of Congress kept Santa Claus all stored up in the winter and the summer, except in December, but he had to live in that little box over there, and they rolled him around to different rooms. And if you start thinking like that, that's how you can start making up some stories. Oh, and it's been kind of fun. Oh, and I got the idea for the kid in it, because you know what's really kind of neat is you can take aspects of your own life and turn them into stories. So this is me right there. That was me when I was a little kid. I got 2 big brothers and 2 young brothers. My mother had 5 boys in 7 years. We think she was trying to have a girl. And I had these 2 big brothers who I could never beat at anything. And like my brother Jeff over here, he was like this genius kid, and he would go to school and take a test, one of those like IQ brain tests. He'd get like a 99 on it. And I remember the teachers and the principals came home and said, oh, Jeff is a genius. He should skip 3 or 4 grades. He should go right to high school. And I would take the exact same test the next year and get a 96. And they'd go, yeah, he's smart, but he's no Jeff. So I always had like these big brothers I couldn't beat at anything except when we played board games. And since there was like 5 of us, we played a lot of board games. You guys ever play Sorry? There is no better feeling in the world than landing your pawn on the same space as your big brother and saying, sorry, and sending him all the way back to the beginning. So I took that remembrance I had, that memory I had, of how good it felt to beat my brothers at games. And so the hero of my story, Escape from Mr. Lemoncello's Library, is this kid named Kyle, who more than anything loves playing games and loves to win. So I got that from there. Oh, and this is the pictures I used when I was designing my own library. And now I can say I've been there. There's the Library of Congress. There we go. And this is the bank that was in the town. I grew up in Buffalo, New York when I was a kid. So I said that he took an old bank building and he turned it into a library. And this is a parking garage at a library somewhere in Kansas where they have the outside, looks like bookshelves. So I did all that and I edited. So that's another way when you're writing, you just kind of look for things and put them together and use your imagination and make up your own library. So now there's a new book, the sequel. I think you guys are all getting a copy of this one, which sounds pretty cool, that just came out. And, oh, this is a little book trailer we did about that.
Reading. This is Olympic-sized fun right here. To the bookstore.
My name is Grabenstein. I'm an author, and my new book is called Mr. Lemoncello's Library Olympics. It's a sequel to Escape from Mr. Lemoncello's Library. And in this book, Mr. Lemoncello is hosting the first ever Library Olympics. Whoever can win the most medals in 12 games will be crowned the true champions of the library. Good story. I love challenging my mind and giving it some exercise.
Push it out. One more. Honestly, it tastes so heavy. Too many questions in here.
Move it. And I also love puzzles. Anybody know a 7-letter word for fun?
funny.
And my advice to aspiring writers is the same that most authors give. Read, 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 write, write, write. You get better the more you practice. And you will have the stuff to be true champions. So that's, yeah, it was fun to do. I sweat a lot. All right, so they got the idea for the sequel from a fifth grader, a guy like you who read the first book, and he said, I bet kids all over the country are going to complain that they didn't get a chance to compete in the first game, and they might want to have a rematch. And that's how the whole idea of the Library Olympics got started, that kids from all over America will come and compete in 12 games. So now I thought we might play a few reading Olympic games here. You guys ready to play some games? All right, I'm going to put some clues up here, and let's see if you guys can guess them. Let's see what's the first one. Can you name these famous children's books? You guys ready? All right, you got that one. Okay, here comes another one. Oh, this one's a little hard. Got it. Perfect. Good. That's the hardest one. That's good. All right. Oh, this one's you got to think about this one for a second. Money and an island. What's another word for money? Okay. Ding 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 ding. All right. Here. Oh, this one's easy. The very hungry caterpillar. All right. Good. Oh. Charlie the Chocolate Factory. Good. 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 All right. Now you have to finish the title. You got to fill in the blank on this. These are the kind of Olympic competitions you're going to find in this book you're going to read here. All right. Bud Not. Boom. Got it. The blank rabbit. The what? The rabbit rabbit? No, that would be redundant. The what? The Velveeta rabbit. No, I mean the Velveteen rabbit. It's a cheesy book. Anyhow, all right, here we go. Curious. Oh, how about everybody knows that one? Is there one more? Yes, there is. Cloudy with it. Meatballs. All right. Okay. Now, I think I need two of you to come up here. Oh, yeah. Let's see. We have a head-to-head competition here. Yes, ma'am. You come up here, and I need you. Come on up here. All right. I'm going to show you a little, what we call a rebus puzzle, where you take pictures and the letters and things, and you see if you can work it out. Here's a pen for you. You got a little piece of paper there. You can work it out. You can look at each other's work. Okay, here comes the puzzle. You ready? Lion plus bear plus carry minus 1 minus car. Can you name this fortress of intellectual freedom? So write down all the letters first. It'd be my suggestion of lion, bear, and carry. You can do it too. L-I-O-N. Lion, L-I-O-N. Bear, B-E. B-E. No, don't have to worry about the pause. B-E-A-R. B-E-A-R. And carry, C-A-R-R-Y. And now the puzzle says take away 1, so take out O-N-E, cross out O-N-E. Oh, there's an N, an E, and also car, which is C-A-R. Take out a C-A-R. What letters do you have left? You got it already. She figured it out down here. She wasn't even on the board. Library. Oh, let's give everybody a round of applause. Good job, you guys. Woo, woo. All right. You got it. Library. L-I-B-R-A-R-Y. Library. There's good. The end is gone. There we go. She's got it. Excellent. Thank you, guys. Sit on down. Is there another game up here? Oh, one more game. One more game here. Can you name this fictional character? Can you name this fictional character here? Yes. What's that? Can you get a hint? Well, he looks like he's got a lot of hair, so I call him a kind of a hairy guy. And he looks like he's making pottery. He looks like he's making pottery. So he's a hairy guy who makes pottery. Harry Potter, you got it. That is correct. That is Harry Potter, ladies and gentlemen. That is a Harry Potter. Well, you guys did very good. You guys did very good. And it's a good thing you did, because when you read this book, you're going to find out that you would be up against some of the toughest competition in the entire country, including there's this one girl named Marjorie Moldauer who's very scary smart and she knows her way around. But I think you guys would compete just fine against it. Oh, here's a question I get asked all the time. People say, why did you name your character Mr. Lemoncello? And first of all, I know it's a beverage that many teachers enjoy. But the real reason I called him Mr. Lemoncello is because when I wrote the first Escape from Mr. Lemoncello's Library book, I made a list of all the reasons we might need public libraries. Because everybody says, you know, I just got an iPhone or an iPad. I can look up anything. I can read anything. Why do I still need a library? So when I wrote the book, I consciously set out and made a list like, okay, why do we still need public libraries especially? And at the top of my personal list was that libraries are a great place for immigrants newly arrived in this country to keep in touch with their old country and find out about their new country. And that meant a lot to me because my grandmother and grandfather both escaped from Greece, like back in the 1920s. The Turks burnt down their village, and my grandmother was a 17-year-old girl, so not too much older than you guys here, and she was put on a boat with a bunch of refugees to be taken somewhere safe, but the boat that she was put on had a cholera epidemic, which can kill people. And so they said, no one is leaving this boat. You're going to all go back to Greece. We're sorry. And my grandmother said, I'm not going back. So in the middle of the night, when the moon was blocked by clouds, she climbed down an anchor rope, swam to shore, met up with all these other refugees, made her way across Europe, got on another boat, somehow got to Ellis Island, made it into America, went to Canton, Ohio, and my mom was the first one of her family born in America. And she said when she was a kid, she promised herself she would read every single book in the Canton, Ohio Public Library because that would make her more of an American. So that's a real long way of telling you that I actually named him Mr. Lemoncello in honor of my Greek grandmother, whose last name was Lemonopoulos. And because if she had not climbed down an anchor rope when she was 17 years old, I would not be in New York City making up silly stories today. Yes?
When you say cholera,
That disease, cholera, right, was on that boat, and that makes people really sick and can even kill people. So those British sailors said, you cannot leave. Yes?
about that in class.
Did you learn about the cholera and epidemics? Yeah, so it's like, yeah, I always have a soft spot whenever I read about refugees in the news and stuff. I always remember that my grandparents were refugees themselves at one point. All right. Oh, knowledge not shared remains unknown. That's Mr. Lemoncello's big motto. He runs his whole library on that a library is a place where everybody can learn everything. It's free and open to everyone. And so, in that spirit, there is a hidden puzzle in this book that you guys are going to get. And there's going to be a prize given to whoever, if you answer the hidden puzzle correctly, and send me an email about it. And if you get the correct answer, your name will be entered into, we'll put it in a big goldfish bowl or something, and we're going to pull out one winner on January 5th, 2017, who will get 2 libraries of books, 2 copies of every book I've ever written for kids, 2 copies of every book my friends can grab at Random House. We did this with the first book. There was another hidden one in that, and we gave away 80 pounds of books. So the idea is that you will keep one library for yourself, and then donate another one to your favorite school or public library. But since you guys were nice enough to come here, I'm going to read you the clue, the riddle. This is what's in the book. Are the games really over? Of course not. Here's one final puzzle. 20 things you just read. 20 things Mr. Lemoncello said were once not allowed to be read because of what other people said. Can you find them all? If so, send an email with your list to author@chrisgrabenstein.com. But since you guys are here today, I'm going to give you a bonus clue. A bonus clue that might send you on the right track. All right, here we go. Where is it? Here we go. Mr. Lemoncello has a wild imagination. He drops some famous titles into his conversation. Like you heard him say Captain Underpants in that little thing he said. He does that a lot in this book. He did it 20 times while speaking in this book. So why don't you go back and take another look? Find what they have in common if you want to win. And when you think you've got it, just send your answer in. So pay very close attention to all the book titles he puts into his conversation when you read the book. All right, I thought I would stop, see if you guys had any questions you want to ask me about reading, writing, and life in general. Yes?
In all your books, do you take some time for people who other books that you're doing?
Sometimes. In my book, The Island of Dr. Libris here, that's the one I took. There's a boy with a really big imagination, and any book he reads, the characters from that book come to life out on an island in the middle of the lake. So that's about the only one I've done where I've taken characters from other books. And so people like Robin Hood is out there, and the Three Musketeers, and people like that. Yes, ma'am. Do all my stories have pictures? No, most of my story books are chapter books. The ones I do with James Patterson, like Treasure Hunters and I, Funny, and House of Robots, those have a lot of illustrations in them. And I have a new book coming out in October called Welcome to Wonderland, Home Sweet Motel. It's going to have a lot of pictures in it, too. Yes, ma'am.
Do you like reading?
Yes, I do. I love it. Do you like it? Yeah, if I find the right books, I got to be honest with you guys, I'm still a little bit of what they call a reluctant reader. And if I pick up a book and it's boring, I'll put it right back down. But that just means it's not the right book for me. So what you got to do is get your teachers and your librarians and everybody to help you find books that are right for you. Because I don't think it's, because I still get bored, but I love like books like this guy named Steve Sheinkin who writes nonfiction as if it was an action movie. And I'm reading a book of his about Benedict Arnold right now. That's incredible. And I like Bud Not Buddy. Have you guys read that one yet by Christopher Paul Curtis? It's very exciting. I just saw it in the other room. So yeah, you can find the right books. I love reading and I love writing. I've been doing this since 5th grade, and it's wonderful. You can find something in life that you love to do, and it's even better if somebody will pay you to do it. Yes? What's that? Oh, most of these books are all written just by me, and then when James Patterson and I work together, we collaborate. So that means we work together. Yes? Escape from Mr. Lemoncello's Library is available wherever fine books are sold. You can find it all over the place. And I bet you probably have it in your school library. And you guys are all getting a copy of the second book today. Yeah, I think they're going to be autographed copies too. I think so. Yes? I think this nice lady back here is going to let you have one of my books. These two nice ladies there have gotten a book for all you guys. So that's kind of cool. I like this. Who else has a question? Yes. Yes. This is my library right here, the Library of Congress. Actually, it's all our libraries in some way, because this is owned by the people of the United States of America. So yes, this is my library, but it's also your library too. Yes. What they do, they take the rights to a story, and then they take my book, my story, and they give it to someone who's more skilled at writing screenplays, because that's really hard. You guys have seen movies, right, from books. You guys like the Harry Potter books? Did you see the Harry Potter movies? And there's a lot of stuff missing, right? Because you have to like cut down when you make a movie. So they took my book and they've given it to a screenplay writer, and I've not seen the screenplay yet, so I have no idea what the movie might look like. I might be crying, I might be laughing. We'll see. Yes? Why didn't I name it my name? Because I think Lemoncello is more fun. Because it has alliteration going, like Mr. Lemoncello's Library has all those L sounds, and it just sounds zanier. There's something about Lemoncello's Library sounds more fun than Mr. Grabenstein's Library. That sounds like it should be a hardware store. I don't know why. How much are we doing okay? We're doing okay. All right, good. Yes, my friend, the question mark. I'm going to call you question mark. I don't think I can do that, but I'm not sure if that's part of the plan today or not. We'll let some of the... You can come back? Yeah. I got to look around a little bit earlier. Anybody else have a question? Yes?
How did you do that?
How did I do this? I work backwards. Whenever you are trying to write a puzzle or a mystery, see, everyone, I was asked this last night at a bookstore. I was at like, how'd you come up with all these riddles? How'd you come up with all these games? It's because I knew what I wanted the answer to be, right? So I knew that I wanted the answer to be library. So I said, well, what can I put together? What letters can I jumble together and take some letters away to equal library? And that's how I ended up with that. So it's a lot easier to write puzzles if you know what you want the answer to be. Yes, question mark. We played all the games, but when you read the book is filled with games for you to compete with along with the people inside the story. So there will be more games. All right. Well, this has been fun for me. Thank you guys for coming in today, and enjoy the book, and I hope you all solve that hidden riddle. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. We just want to thank Everybody Wins DC again, and also Walker Jones Educational Campus. Thank you all for coming out. I hope you all had a fun time. Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
Yay.
This has been a presentation of the Library of Congress. Visit us at loc.gov.